Hey, this is Lynn. It is weigh-in Monday, and I just completed 12 weeks on the carnivore diet. So I'm here today to go over my results. I want to do a little quick recap because I've gotten quite a few new subscribers recently, which I really appreciate. Did not expect. When I started this channel, it was basically to hold myself accountable. And I started the carnivore diet back at the very end of May this year, which is 2023. And I started getting some subscribers and some amazingly wonderful comments and encouragement online, and it has meant so much. So I just figured, since I've gotten, some more subscribers recently, just to do a quick recap on who I am, because I don't know how many people have gone back and watched my first video, which, explained a little bit about my background. But I'm a nurse. I had to officially retire from nursing this February, again, 2023, because of Mast Cell Activation Syndrome. It is a lifelong condition that gets progressively worse with age. It is an immune condition. There's still some debate as to whether it's immune versus autoimmune. But I just got diagnosed in the spring of 2022. It's an illness that the National Institute of Health still classifies as rare. It classifies it as rare, but the leading experts in it, are thinking it's not quite so rare. So there may be a lot of people that have this condition and don't even realize it. And I did do a video about mast cell activation syndrome. So check that out. If you're one of those people that baffles doctors and you've been to a whole bunch of specialists and nobody can diagnose you, or you get diagnosed with something and then the treatment doesn't work, maybe mast cell activation syndrome is something to consider. I also have a condition called hereditary alpha tryptophanemia. It's related. So I don't go into too much detail about that because the treatment's the same. A lot of the symptoms are the same. But anyways, I had a huge flare of mast cell activation syndrome in the spring of 2022. And I ended up going on medical leave and never got well enough to go back to work. So I'm 55 and officially retired. And unfortunately, I would love to be retired feeling wonderful, but that's not the case. So I embarked on this journey on the carnivore diet at the end of May of 2023, as I stated. I have a long history of gaining weight, starting in my early 20s when I developed polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so over the past year, being on medical leave and having very little energy, I gained even more weight, and I started having lower back problems. And those lower back problems were affecting my knee, my hips, and I just saw into my future that I'm going to be a cripple if I don't do something about it. So I've been on the carnivore diet for about 6 weeks in the past. I don't know why I quit, because it was working, but I decided to go back on it. I got to get my husband on here sometime too. He is hard to nail down, but he is doing this alongside with me, and he's doing really well. He's lost almost 20 pounds. So anyways, I think that's about it to catch you up. I just also wanted you to know that, I'm trying really hard not to be a perfectionist, and because I have a tendency to be a perfectionist, and I won't do something until I know I have it perfect. So if my videos are not perfect, it's because I'm really trying hard to just get the videos out there. If I stumble over my words, which can happen with my condition, it does have cognitive effects. Today I'm doing pretty well so far, but sometimes I have to think really hard to come up with the words that I'm trying to say. So I'm just trying not to let that hinder me, because I'm getting so much benefit out of just doing these videos, seeing my progress, getting some amazing comments from people and encouragement. It's been nothing but positive so far in my life. I do have a tremendous issue with rosacea, and a lot of people have rosacea. My rosacea is, worsened by the mast cell activation syndrome. So I always do my videos without makeup. And I have done some shorts recently where I've shown, how it flares up with the shower. Now, I can't take hot showers. Part of the MCAS, or mast cell activation syndrome, for short MCAS, is heat intolerance. Also, could be cold as well. So I can't take like a cold shower. I can't take a hot shower. I have to take kind of in the middle shower. Sometimes it's even lukewarm. But it really inflames my skin. And there's other things that it will inflame my skin. Right now, it doesn't look too bad. Of course, the lighting's pretty decent, but it doesn't look too bad today. And I'm actually having a really good day. So anyways, that's a little bit on me. You're going to just kind of get me as I am. Sometimes I don't have the energy to shower for several days. So if I look scraggly, it just means I'm having a rough week as far as my MCAS goes. But I'm curious to see how the carnivore diet affects it. I'm, hoping that it does. I know it's really good for autoimmune diseases. And MCAS is very inflammatory, and so far my inflammation is so much better. Not perfect, but it's definitely improving. So on to this week's results. Let me go ahead and pull them up on my phone so I can take a look at them. So I started out, almost tipped things over here. Started over May 31st at 339.6 pounds. And last week I weighed in at 318.6, and then this morning I weighed in at 317.6. So the scale has gone down by 1 pound. Now I always look at the details. I have a body composition scale made by Renfo, and I like to look at the details of the body composition. So my fat-free body weight has gone up by 0.4. So that's everything that's not fat in my body, the good tissue. So that's good. So and I can see that I gained about 0.6 of muscle mass. So I don't know if there's a little bit of water loss. Something in there is making up a little bit of a difference. And if you get to know me, I'm pretty analytical. I like to look at the details and crunch the numbers. I'm not really crunching too much today. I'm just happy that I'm seeing good results so far. I'm always stuck on that ridiculous metabolic age, stuck at 62. I'm so frustrated. It's like, I don't know what it's going to take to get that age to start dropping down. I know eventually it will, but I have a feeling I just have to lose a lot more weight. My BMI has dramatically improved. It's still horrible. It's really bad, but it started out over 50 when I got started, and now it's 48.1. Body fat percentage has definitely gone down by like 5 points, so that's really great. My visceral fat right now is hanging out at 28, but it started at 30. So anytime I lose visceral fat, I'm just going, yay! Because that's the fat around my organs. It's really important to lose that fat. I'm probably going to do a separate video because I don't want to make this one too long. I'm probably going to do a separate video where I go over like what's the normal range. So where should I be at versus where am I now? How far do I have to go in order to get into that normal range? And it varies for each of these, each of the numbers here. So my muscle mass went up again, like I said, another 0.6, which is good because, again, that means I'm getting stronger. My bone mass has gone up from 5.8 to 6.4 over the course of the carnivore diet. So, protein it's a building block for muscle and bone. So I'm really happy that I am gaining in the right areas. My basic metabolic rate is going up a little bit. It is still pretty low for where I should be. So overall, I would say that because my scale loss was 1 pound, but I did have a 0.4 gain of the good tissue, that means that my fat loss for the week was 1.4 pounds. So I'm happy. And I know a couple weeks ago I had a pretty dramatic drop, so I was not sure if I would just stay level for a while or if I would start to kind of lose again. So I didn't have really high expectations over these weeks, following that significant weight drop. So I'm very happy with the results, the fact that they're continuing to go down. Now, I have been very good about the diet. I have not been cheating. And as I've been going along, I've been figuring out like what foods are better for me and what foods are not. Now, with my mast cell activation syndrome, I need to stick with lower histamine foods because higher histamine foods can be inflammatory and make me more reactive. And I definitely am trying to avoid episodes of throat swelling, dizziness, nausea, which are kind of the three main symptoms I get when I get a mast cell reaction. Mast cell activation syndrome at baseline is low energy and systemic inflammation. My naturopathic doctor, I had an appointment with him last week. He's ordered some labs. He's also ordered something called a GI map, which is a complete analysis of my gut. So I'm super excited to see how that goes. It's going to probably be a while. It's a mail in. I've got to get the company to mail the lab to mail me the kit. Then I got to do the collection and then send it back. So it's going to be a while. But when I get that result, I will, if it's interesting, I will go over that in a video. But I'm getting some other labs done. So we're going to check my C-reactive protein, which is chronically high because of my condition. We're going to check some of the other basic labs, and we're going to check my hemoglobin A1C, which I am really looking forward to seeing that hopefully it's going down because I was pre-diabetic at the beginning of this. Fortunately, thank God, not diabetic, but pre-diabetic. So I definitely did not want to go into that diabetic realm. I've been working on walking more, which I'm assuming has been helpful. I had the best walk last night, and I've been posting some videos lately about how frustrating it is because I can't walk without some sort of pain. And then yesterday I had this walk where I didn't have any pain. And I actually felt amazing. And I was able to walk at like double the pace that I usually do. Now, I usually am kind of gimpy and I'm just struggling and I'm pushing forward and I'm going slow. And I was like, wow, this is turning into a power walk. Like I was feeling it. So I was so excited about that. That was huge progress for me. I hope it continues, but we'll see. With my mast cell activation syndrome, it's kind of hit and miss from day to day. Like yesterday, my husband and I were at Costco, and I've been wanting to change my phone plan. And so I stopped at the kiosk to talk to the girl about changing the phone plan. And it ended up being a long conversation. And one of the things that I experience is something called like orthostatic intolerance, meaning when I stand in one place for too long, I think my blood pressure drops and I get dizzy. And so that happened while I was standing there talking to her. She was so sweet, and she had someone run over and grab me a chair, and they grabbed one, I think, out of their furniture department. It looked like it was one that went with the table and was kind of a little bit of a high, like a bar stool type chair, and it was great. So I sat down, my husband ran and grabbed me some water, and I drank some water, and I sat there, and it took me about 30 minutes before the dizziness went away, and I felt well enough to stand up. But that's just the type of thing that happens, and I have to just be really careful with this condition. So I am really anxious to see how the carnivore diet affects these types of little things about my condition. And I guess they're not really little because if you feel like you're going to pass out, that's not really little. I guess I see it little because I've never passed out. There are people with my condition who actually pass out. I have never passed out. So I'm very grateful for that. And, but it's still no fun not being able to stand and talk to somebody without getting dizzy and needing to sit down. I'm fine as long as I'm walking. As long as I keep moving, I'm fine. But anyways, I still ended up talking for a long time. I guess I have a lot to say. But again, if you're still with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the wonderful comments and the helpful comments. I have people who genuinely care and they bring up things that are really helpful for me. I mean, yes, I'm a nurse, but I'm a novice when it comes to the carnivore diet. I mean, nursing school doesn't teach the carnivore diet. It teaches the standard American diet. It really, honestly, you don't spend a whole lot of time on diet. Just like doctors, they don't spend a whole lot of time on diet. In nursing school, we're taught to keep people alive and to help them get better from critical, acute illnesses, not nutrition. I mean, that's something that a registered dietitian knows about or a nutritionist knows about. We know a little bit about it. Like when it comes to nutrition, we learn about things like, the type of diet that a patient needs to be on based on what has put them in the hospital. Whether they are, they have had a stroke and they have swallowing difficulties, or if they're getting ready for surgery. Those are the types of things that we learn about. We don't learn, and of course, carnivore is not even in the realm of what we learn about in nursing school. So I'm a novice when it comes to this, and I am learning. So there's people who know a ton more than I do about the technical aspects of the carnivore diet. I don't get too technical, to be honest. The only thing I watch out is for the high histamine foods, which means I can't have bacon, which is so sad. But I feel as though everybody has to kind of take their own journey of what they can do with the carnivore diet. Some people are super, super strict. And if you have to be super strict, then absolutely do it. And I think that things change over time. So like where I'm at right now with what I'm doing with this diet, I found that beef is better for me. I don't do any pork. I do a little bit of chicken, but just to get a little taste variety for myself. But I do so much better with beef. I do have buttered coffee. I do allow myself some dairy. I'm actually trying to cut back a little bit on the dairy because I do think it's a little more inflammatory for me. But it's a journey. And as I go, I'm going to figure out like which foods I can do and which ones I can't. And it may be different for me than it is for you. So, whatever approach you take to the carnivore diet, or whether you start out with a ketogenic diet and with the plan on kind of transitioning into the carnivore diet, just do it. It's going to be better and healthier than the standard American diet. And expect to make mistakes along the way. We all do. And that's something that, it's part of our journey. It's part of experiencing growth. And expect things to change and your body to change, and your body to maybe react differently down the road than it is now. So I'm learning to be flexible, and I'm learning also not to psychologically allow myself to get down when I have bad days, and just expect them and expect that this is the journey. It's like this. Hopefully it's trending in the right direction as far as weight and in this direction as far as health. But there are peaks and valleys, and that's normal. So anyways, this has ended up being a longer video than I anticipated. But I do this, do a weigh-in video once a week. And sometimes I just go on and chatter. Sometimes I have videos where I've got my dogs barking in the background, or they're sitting on my lap and they jiggle the computer all over the place. But anyways, appreciate anybody who's still here. I am working on a video about applying low histamine to the carnivore diet for anybody who may think they have histamine intolerance, or somebody else that has Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, or maybe getting a workup for it, trying to get diagnosed, which is hard, takes years. Took me like 6 years to get diagnosed. But anyways, I'm working on something just to provide some education about low histamine foods. So anyways, I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. I'll be popping in here and there throughout the week with maybe another video and some shorts, and just to give you an update and see how I'm doing this week. Bye-bye.